Hi, my name is Martha McBride, and I am an elementary education major with a minor in special education. For Education 378, Literacy Methods, I was asked to go to Delaware Elementary School to observe a 6th grade classroom. My observations focused on English and language arts. I was in Miss Curry's 6th grade classroom and learned a lot from her and her students. At Delaware, I was in a 6th grade classroom. This classroom seemed like a typical 6th grade classroom with lots of support for English and language arts. Books, instructional signs, and motivational posters filled the room. There were about 15 students in the class. Miss Curry, the teacher, was very warm and welcoming, and I can tell she enjoyed her job. Miss Curry had plenty of signs up for procedures. She had several posters up for morning, afternoon, and hallway procedures. I'm a procedures nerd, so this made me very happy. The classroom also had plenty of technology, including netbooks and a Promethean board. Miss Curry also used Class Dojo, an app and website meant for tracking student behavior. The teacher can add and take away points for certain behaviors students are exhibiting. The classroom was set up very well, and it was different every time we visited the school. Most students sat at tables with one or two other students, and some were in desks. When Miss Curry was teaching for the first time, some students were sitting on the floor in front of the Promethean board, while a handful were still at their desks. Behaviorism was a major part of how Miss Curry ran her classroom. As I mentioned earlier, she utilized Class Dojo to assess student behavior. Miss Curry focused on positive reinforcement, thanking students for following directions and encouraging good choices. Students also received SOAR tickets as part of a school-wide PBIS plan. Students were able to take these tickets and spend them at the SOAR store as a reward for good behavior. The classroom also included differentiated instruction. Delaware has a more flexible environment as there are no textbooks. Teachers create or find lessons which allow for more flexibility with students and their current abilities. Not all students were reading the same book and were allowed to work at their own pace. As long as teachers are following the standards, they are free to be creative as they would like with their students and how they learn in all subjects. I think this sounds better than being forced to stick to a textbook and its worksheets and tests. There was also scaffolding. Students were placed in groups by reading level with varying levels of help from others. Some students worked and read by themselves, while some were in groups with other students, and some worked one-on-one with Miss Curry or a teacher's aide. Groups are tailored to each student's ability with specific plans to help them succeed and grow in their abilities. Miss Curry's classroom knew what each level meant when she asked them to be at level 1 or 0. Levels went from 0 to 5. 0 meant no talking at all, and 5 meant outdoor voices. Students knew that level 1 meant whispering and very little talking. Usually students were allowed to speak at level 1 or 2 during group work, but during individual time or when Miss Curry was teaching, students were asked to be at level 0. During classroom discussion, students were always asked to raise their hands rather than shout out to answer questions. Students were never punished or embarrassed for having the wrong answer. Rather, Miss Curry would ask another student to help the student talking. Students were actively involved in the discussion and everybody contributed. For example, one day the class was doing a summarizing worksheet. Mrs. Curry took lots of different answers for one single question and wanted lots of class participation. As part of the I do, we do, you do process, Ms. Curry explained how what she was doing, showing what she was doing, how the students will relate to what they have to do on their own. The teacher was modeling to the students how to complete their individual activity. Reading is highly emphasized in Ms. Curry's classroom. The entire back wall of the classroom is one big bookshelf. Students had a variety of books to choose from, and Ms. Curry incorporated reading and writing into all of her lessons and activities. Ms. Curry demonstrated important skills for reading, including recognizing what a plot is and how a story is built. Mrs. Curry spoke on this topic more than once during our time visiting Delaware, so we got to see how she reviewed with students, asking them to name the parts of a plot. She asked students to review what exactly the climax is and asked them each what they thought the climax was in the book they had just finished. Students had individual daily reading, also known as IDR. At this time, students were able to read any book of their choice for 40 minutes a day. Students were able to go to different places in their room to do their IDR, including beanbags, the floor, different tables, and even the teacher's chair. Students kept reading logs and seemed to enjoy the special time to read as they wished. Students were also placed in reading circles. These reading circles were based on similar reading levels, and each group was assigned a different book. Each group did a literature circle packet, a group project that spanned a few weeks. Each group read together to each other and worked on their packet. Students shared what they thought of their book and discussed ideas for a presentation that would have to do at the end of their unit with the literature circle packets. At times, Miss Curry would ask students to read passages out loud. I noticed that many students read very well. Some went a little bit slower and had more trouble on more difficult words, but most did a very good job. Most students seemed to be on grade level and did not have any major problems while we were observing. Students would take turns reading and then bump to another student or say who they wanted to read next. This is also known as popcorn reading. In Miss Curry's classroom, we did not see any published pieces of students writing on the wall. However, I still saw that writing was incorporated into the room. Miss Curry incorporated writing into most activities. There were many posters in the room that discussed the writing process and the steps. Students kept writing notebooks and folders. As I said earlier, writing was incorporated into many activities and the class had many chances to improve their writing skills. Miss Curry kept a quote of the day on the wall, and I could see how she could use that for a quick writing prompt or bell ring in the morning. Students were asked to write directly on worksheets and had many fill-in-the-blank questions. Students also had netbooks they had the opportunity to use in class, including writing. Students also had the chance to work on vocabulary. Each time we were in the classroom, we saw different vocabulary words on the wall. Also, when students read passages in a book or on a worksheet together, Miss Curry helped them sound out difficult words. I was thankful to have this opportunity to visit Delaware Elementary School and watch how a real teacher teaches English and language arts in a real classroom. Seeing the variety of activities was nice, and I enjoyed seeing how engaged the students were in her teaching. She had a positive outlook and always wanted to help her students. As a whole, the classroom had a balanced approach to learning, writing, and reading. I feel that the students will continue to succeed and perform well. Students were introduced to activities that will make them better readers and writers and help them use these skills both in school and in real life. Nothing in the classroom was too hard or too easy for anybody, thanks to scaffolding and differentiation, so everybody was engaged and could succeed.